Welcome to the Me Plus Ultra Network. I'm your host, Scott Joseph, and today we have an incredible episode lined up for you. If you've ever thought about writing or publishing a business book, but you didn't know where to start, it could be overwhelming. It could be a little intimidating. Maybe you want to know how to turn your expertise into profit, generating a powerhouse. This episode is going to be for you. Joining me today is Mario Fachini. He's a national speaker, CEO, 2 times international best-selling author. He's the creator of the Expert Authority Effect publishing method. Mario has helped countless entrepreneurs publish their lead and profit-generating business books, transforming their authority and impact in their industries. He's here to share his insights, his actionable steps he's going to give us, and his inspirational story and journey with us. By the end of this live stream, you're going to understand the benefits of publishing a business book, how to do it the right way, and how it can revolutionize your business. So let's dive right in. Mario, welcome to the Me Plus Ultra Network. Oh, wait a minute, buddy.
Scott, it's a great day to be here, and I'm excited to share with your audience.
You and I go way back now, what, 3 years?
Pretty much.
Met at a, I don't want to say, it was a networking event actually, at Pod Match. So we were at a, or not Pod Match, but Pod Fest. And so for those of you in the audience, well, I learned about Pod Match from Pod Fest and from you and Larry Roberts. So, but you and I met 3 years ago from a mutual friend. We were at a podcasting convention and expo, and hit it off right away. And of course, you know, you're publishing books, which I've been thinking about doing, and now and in the process with you. But I feel like there's probably, that's exactly right. And I think there's a lot of people that were probably in the same boat, or in the same boat that I was in a few years ago, where
100%.
they know they have the expertise, they have the knowledge, they want to share it, but they don't know what's involved. They don't know how difficult or how easy it might be to write a book. They're worried about the time commitment to do it. They're worried about, you know, all the little details to make sure it's done right. They also don't, you know, I told you right out of the gate, I do not want to put out a book that my peers read and they're like, this thing sucks. You know,
yeah,
so
I said that at dinner the very first time, and then the second time I asked you, it was this basically the same thing, and it is for a lot of people because you have so much wisdom and experience, success, and then you go, oh, I want to do this, go to this next level and reach even more people and have this impact. And so many people just, for lack of a better term, throw mud against the wall, throw it on Amazon, throw up a cover, throw up some content. And I say it like that, even from stage, because it looks like you just threw up a cover, threw up some content, threw up it on Amazon. And it's like, where did the thought, the strategy, the marketing, what's the bigger intent? Why are you doing it? What do you hope to derive from it? I mean, books have been around thousands of years. They're not going anywhere. So why not do it right the first time? Dad always told me that. Do it right the first time. You don't need to go back and do it again. And so many people, I feel just like it's another tiki check or something. Tiki chicky mark, whatever the hell. It's just like something on the checklist to do. It's like book check, podcast check, website. It's just like this thing, but I always go back to like, why? Who are you looking to help? Is it the right time? You know, we don't really force anyone to do it. You know, we're not like this aggressive, you need to do it now, otherwise you can never do it in life. You know, that's stupid. There is a timing component. You need to be able to commit. You need to be ready. And some people, it's just, I mean, let's use you example. You said, I want to do one, not right now. I want to do one, not right now. And then I think at the very tail end of yet another one of your great events, I was like, we should launch this at the next one. You're like, sounds good. That's timing. Well, you always could have done this.
Well, that was your close. That was perfect. That was a good one because I knew I was.
Is that even selling? It just,
no.
It just,
Well, that's the best type of selling is the kind that don't, seem like you are. But you bring up selling. It's a
I
good
knew you
point
wanted
because
to do it, and it was timing. The group's growing, and I really thought it was in your best interest.
how many podcasts have you listened to? How many workshops have you attended? And let's just say it's on sales
This year,
since you brought
ever.
you brought up, yeah, whatever, and you look back and you go through that workshop and webinar, even some books, and basically it's like, well, you got to streamline your sales process, and they give you a few things, and you walk away from it saying it was all surface level fluff.
Mhm.
How do I streamline what does that look like? Why is that important? Why should I avoid this when doing it? And why should I move in this direction when doing it? I want specifics. So when people can to me, value comes when I can walk away and have a really good idea of what I need to do
You
to
have
get
the
something.
answers, not just the outline.
Correct. That's correct. I
And
don't
it
I don't need the headline of all the topics, just an
Yeah.
exaggerated long headline of every topic, right?
Yeah,
So
if I see that you can use AI to write one more time, like, really? It's kind of the basis of what it started with, and, again, books have been around for so long, there's no short and what's so great about this is we write headlines, well, you should be, if you're not, you should be, but you write headlines, you write email subject lines, you write emails, you text, you do all these things that are writing geared, but then people have this aversion to, like, actually putting your word on paper in a cohesive form. And I think it goes more back to the psychology and subconscious level stuff, because I see people that'll do 500, 1,000 blogs, but they won't write even a 20-page book because it's like, oh, I'm really putting myself out there. And that's the whole point. You are.
I don't
But
want to give away. I don't want to give away, Mario, your process, but um,
I have no
maybe
problem
that.
giving it away. It's in my
Well,
book.
we're going to do
I
that
don't
later. I
give
mean,
away
I
the
mean,
surface
right
level.
now. I mean, right here at this minute. But I will say, maybe part of that process should have just had me, uh, sending you text. I'm a phenomenal texter. If I had text back when I was in the dating world, all right, life would have been much easier for me. I'm a much better flirt on text. When I was dating my wife, I've had 2 marriages, right? So there was a period where that what didn't exist for me. Then I had a little 3-year window where I could text and date. All right. And I got to tell you, I was much better at texting her than I was in front of her. A little more nervous right in front of her. And so if I could just text you what this book should be, we would have been already done.
But the magic comes from having the conversation real time. What if
Hey,
it was 10 minutes before you got a response? What if it was a day? Now it's this.
you
You
see
s you
Dennis
s you
Edwards.
said it,
Dennis Edwards came into Dennis. If you're still tuning in, good to see you, buddy. You met Dennis in Louisville at Business Bourbon and
yeah,
Cigars.
I remember.
Yep.
How's it going?
Yep. Good. So,
I'm trying to think, was it I think when I had you on, my show, I think we were talking about the focus. You've said it before, and you said, "What's the most important thing?" And it's focus. So when you can get someone like right now, nothing else is going on. I didn't check 58 things before this. I was preparing to come fully present. I didn't want to be distracted with, oh, I just got this text. I just got this email. And it's the same thing I've done for my show for years. Like, I don't do anything until the shows are done. Um, and there's that focus that comes in it to it. And yeah, I mean, there are things that we probably could do and say, just fill out this questionnaire. But are you really going to fill out a 200-page questionnaire to make sure we have every last thing we need? And then what about the context of it? I mean, there's so many ways. There's pros and cons with all of it. I think it's easiest for people to just talk and be like,
yeah.
tell me more about this. And also for the stories. Hey, why is focus important? You said this yesterday. Why is sale? Geez, that's going to be fun tomorrow. You go, yeah, every business needs sales and marketing. And I said something like, yeah, if we could just play here. And you're like, no, every business needs sales and marketing. And you were able to go into that more, and I appreciated it.
It's the lifeblood of any business, right? And so what for those of in the audience now, listen, the Me Plus Ultra
Yeah,
community
that
knows you
haven't
well.
been to the live event should, because it's freaking awesome.
Business Bourbon and Cigars, which is our flagship of Me Plus Ultra. So that our community knows you well, but most of my
There's
followers
people I'd
on
still like to
LinkedIn.
meet even more. I mean, there's a lot of great people. It's just a time thing.
So on LinkedIn, a lot of the people that follow me, and whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, or um, X, uh, they may not know you, right? And so let's introduce you real quick here. Talk to us about your journey. What inspired you to pursue business book publishing, and what inspired you, but really I'd love to know the milestones.
A lot of ups and downs. I always wanted to help people. Um, I think it really stemmed the more I think about it, getting picked on when I was younger, not being able to say what I really wanted to say. I did it with video, and that's what I originally went into. I actually hated English. Um, I think it was more school that I didn't like than anything, but I have a found appreciation. Like I would always read the dictionary. Like you can ask my friends when we were playing Nintendo. I had dictionaries on the bookshelf next to bed. I would pause the game and be like, what's this word mean? And I was before Google. I always wanted to help people be able to share their message and share whatever it is. But I think so many people have a hard time articulating what they want to say, how they want to say it, and to whom they want to say it. So I think that was the draw with marketing in general. I considered being an attorney. Same, they all had the same through line of I want to help people. I want to help them get their voice out and tell their side of the story. And I didn't realize it as much as I do now because, I mean, if we're really opening up, I think it was first grade. I was even in a speech pathology class because I had a problem talking or something. Like I have it around here, and I've been actually meaning to put it in one of the next books or webinars. It's like CD, maybe an A in arts and band and stuff, but it was like has problem paying attention, talks too much in class, has problem paying attention, talks too much in class, has problem. And now I look back at the last 10, 12, 15 years and I'm like, sweet, that was my superpower the whole time. And I think it was Einstein who said something. And I think this is a problem across the board, not
Yeah.
just me, but people get pigeonholed to you're good at math, you need to be an engineer. You're bad at math. I was never bad at math. I just wasn't motivated or cared. I use it every day in business now. That's how
Yeah.
you make profit margins bigger. Um,
Yeah.
but in school, I was always told I wasn't smart, this, that, the other thing. And I just didn't like hearing it. Ninth grade, I was like, this is stupid. I'm not dumb. I actually can help people. And it was just, I think people don't know better because it's like one person says something, you get labeled something, someone else says something, and now it's, oh, that's the kid that failed math. That's no, failed English, bad at math, doesn't listen, talk too much. I personally think I was just not challenged enough. And now, well, as you know, business, you can have a challenge every day and it will keep you pretty busy. But I love helping people overcome their stuff now too, because there's so many, everyone's got problems. It just depends what it is. And I heard long ago that there's no business problems. They're just personal problems that show up in business.
Oh, good point. I hated school too. I feel like I have a very short attention span. And so a lot of what you were describing probably falls under that category. And so I think it's not that you weren't challenged. It's not that you weren't uh, smart enough. I think for me, if what I'm learning isn't super relevant to me at that point in time, you have a 0% chance of capturing, and if you do capture, keeping my attention. I've got to really be interested in what's going on.
I agree.
And I think that's the thing with school. If I like it, I mean, I learn it, and
Yeah,
and
if
I
I
stay
like it,
focused
I
on it.
love it and I'm going to go all in. But if I don't, like, riddle me this, I'm going to be an attorney. Why do I need astrology?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I
Yeah,
love astrology. I think it's fascinating. I think there's a bunch of stuff we can derive and learn from it. But as far as you're going to be an engineer, you need to study baking. Why?
Well, you just brought up something. It'd be interesting. Maybe a lot of classes should spend more time the first week explaining why we're going to learn this stuff and how it's going to apply and help us. Uh, I, I might have paid a little more attention back
Yeah,
then.
if there was a point, I still don't think there is. I think they just want chickied the techie boxes or whatever I said earlier, but they didn't say it in the first 20 years of my life. So
You said something that I've referenced before, that focus is more important. I put out a I post this on social media a lot, which is focus is greater than time. Because everybody
mhm,
says time is what's most important. To me, focus is greater than time. Time is greater than money. And I
mhm,
say that because if you have incredible focus, you will have more time and more money. Does that make sense? In other words,
absolutely.
when we lose focus, we waste time. All right. We're not efficient. We're not productive with our time,
Yeah,
which
4 hours
cost us
free
money.
time and wasting it isn't as good as 30 minutes of focus time.
Correct. And that's why I put that out there. All right. So why is I feel like there's so many business books out, and I do feel like there's enough people. I'm like I have a lot of friends that have recently put them out, so they understand the power in it. But for those who don't, why is it such a powerful tool for entrepreneurs and or business leaders?
Compared to a business card, flyer, or even a website, I mean, you can take this puppy with you anywhere you want.
Yeah,
It's physical. You can here you
it's a
go. I
beautiful
mean,
plug. It's a beautiful plug that you just did.
well, it's the truth. It's like where else let me ask you this. Could you use more screen time? Do you feel like you're devoid of it, or would you like to use less?
Hmm.
So nowadays, it's come from this necessity to just disconnect, and it is a way to disconnect. And I mean, you can see the testimonials and all these different things, and it's like everyone's happy, all this. But some of my favorites are when they go, brought you on vacation with me, and they're holding up the book.
Yeah,
I mean, no one's
there's
bringing the laptop so they can watch another YouTube video when they're on vacation.
so I'm not a tablet reader.
No.
And like, I'll give you an example. Um, I'll come back to the example, but like I could probably listen on I'd have to have a long drive.
For
Um,
audiobook.
but yeah, but I've never finished an audiobook. There's something about the physical book for me. Maybe it's because I'm older that really works. But you often on X, I'll see posts and threads questioning who here still has a physical Bible.
Mhm.
I do. I prefer, because I've had it on my phone. I use my phone if I travel, but
If you're on the
at
go.
home, part of my morning meditations and my morning process is I spend 30 minutes in my Bible. And I like having the physical Bible, and I'll have that Bible in a year with Father Mike playing, and I'll follow along in my Bible, because when I hear it, I see it, and I retain better. And so,
You can
um,
highlight it, write notes.
well, no, I don't. I never do anything. I don't do that in this Bible.
Okay.
This Bible was a gift to me. I'm trying to keep it as
Well, that's nice.
I want it to look
Some
as
people do, though.
I want
I
it to
just
look
mean
good
books in
worn,
general.
but I would mark it. I could put markers in there. But what I can do on that is I can just go to my phone and then mark the verses and highlight the verses I need to pay more attention to. But Mario, I do everything well. I don't need to highlight any verses.
I wouldn't expect any less, but you said something that I don't even think you realized. You said it's hard for me to finish the audiobooks, but you said, and you do what I do. I follow along to Father Mike while I'm reading it,
Yes.
audio
Ah.
and
Hmm.
physical.
Yeah. Especially a
So
business
I
book.
do the same with the audiobook and the physical book. You know what? Not 100% of the time. Sometimes I think the audiobook I always use as supplementary with the physical, but sometimes I will read the physical without the audio.
Yeah.
It just depends what you're doing. And here's the thing. Some people, there's someone listening going, I love my Kindle. That's great. There's other people
Yeah.
going, I hate physical books. I ask whenever I feel like it. I go book or audiobook. And
Yeah.
it's honestly split because some people love one or the other. And here's the thing.
Yeah.
Great. That's why we advise people to do them all. If you want it for Kindle and an ebook, Merry Christmas. If you want it physical, soft cover because it fits in your luggage better, Merry Christmas. You want the audiobook, hardcover, and all the other versions, Merry Christmas. The goal is to get it out there. And that's another thing people do is they go, I'm going to do this cheaply. I'm going to do it haphazardly. And then I'm not going to do the hardcover. I'm not going to do the audiobook. I'll do Kindle because that's affordable enough. And you're missing half the audience.
Mm-hmm.
So we look for people that are really going, I want to go maximum mentality and not do this for pennies on the dollar for no other reason than the end result marketing. The hardest part is getting the content and formulating a book. Do you know how easy it is when the book is done and edited to just read the thing into a microphone like this? And I'm not saying you should do it like this. You should have it professionally done in a soundproof studio with an expensive microphone. But
Robert Downey's doing mine, right? Robert Downey
Jr.
Jr.
Iron Man.
Yeah. That's I thought that's what you promised me when I signed on.
That would be hilarious.
I would love that.
I was actually just watching Iron Man the other night. You're doing yours. Everyone wants to hear you.
All right.
Don't you want to hear you?
All right. So before we get into some of the steps on what people should and should not do to really make sure that their book is successful, talk to me right out of the gate. Like, what's one of the best success stories someone has had, one of your clients has had, following the expert authority effect, the publishing method?
Increase sales because of the confidence in themselves. The best compliment we got was within about 3-4 weeks of going through the process, he goes, this is the best my messaging has ever been. And I know we're just getting started. I just redid 2 presentations and gave one and they loved it. And he is a speaker. He was not brand new. He already had refined presentations and even hired other companies to help him refine the presentations in the previous years. I was like, wow, really? And he went into it for 15-20 minutes, how much it's helped. Because it's easy to do a LinkedIn post. It's easy to do a blog post. Heck, you could even do a podcast interview or something. And you can just say things and, oh, they're entertaining. She or he is so well-spoken. And it goes over well, but people get a little bit more cautious when you go, we're going to print this. There's no changing it. And it's going to go into your peers' hands.
You can change the audio stuff, can't you?
Yeah, but the printed books, I mean, we're
Right.
talking about the AI cloning stuff now, but people realize this is pretty permanent. And to go from one to the next, if you screwed up a blog post, no big deal, do another one the next day, print a retraction, yada, yada. If you've already printed copies of the book and it's already launched, you're talking a minimum 2-3 months to do a second revision, unless you wanted to do nothing for 30 to 45 days and correct everything. But why would you even print it if it's that bad to begin with is my question. But I see people do it. They do the quick one. The first one didn't turn out the way they want. And that's really what pains me is there's so many people doing them so quick and haphazardly. They have such a bad experience with the first one. They never want to do a second, third, fourth, fifth.
I can tell a good book halfway through chapter 1 by the way it's written. I can say this book is going to bring me value or not right out of the gate. I can just tell.
And
Even
it's not
before
fluff stuff, I bet, is it?
Nah, it's one of the things that stopped me from moving forward. Is because I've read enough of those, and I was like, I don't want to be that. So that was a big, I guess, fear, right? Something that held me back. And of course, all the other stuff I gave you was excuses. Time, I'm not ready yet. All the bullshit stuff. Those are just excuses. But the real reason was, I think it was Number one, I don't want to ego. I don't want to embarrass myself and put something out there that doesn't bring the value that I'd want.
It's
What do you say to
completely
people that have
understandable.
that same fear?
When you're not at a point where you know your content is refined, and it's the first half of people, they want to do it. I really do believe they have good intentions. They want to help more people. But the fear is, I don't know my stuff well enough. And no one's ever really said this, but the people who have said, I'm not ready, this and that, you can look at everything else. The website's haphazard. This is haphazard. They just don't have their content refined. But then you get to the point where it's refined and you know it. But then it's like the two that pop up are, well, how's mine different? What else am I going to say that
Yeah,
hasn't been said? So now they
correct.
just fear, but it all goes back to psychological triggers and subconscious. But the reality is only you have your perspective.
All right.
And you
So
said that I
someone's
don't want to do another marketing book. And we talked through
no,
it and you're like, I would love if you did one for no other reason than you're one of the few people with an uber successful marketing company. And there's people that have 2 clients and they're doing books on how well they know marketing.
you can save that book for Jamil.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair enough.
that's a good.
But
He
you know
should
what
be
I
writing
mean?
that book. Yeah.
We're looking for more great content out there, and it's like it's so easy for people. I mean, realistically, if someone wants to put a book on Amazon by the end of this week, go for it. It's not rocket science. 24 pages, throw on a cover, throw it up there. It'll be on Amazon if that's what you want to do. And I know people who have done that because they're doing a press thing or they're doing a podcast thing and they go, yeah, here's the book that's releasing. And then it's
So
coming out 186 days from now, and then they just run with that and never print the thing. I have a problem with that. But the
let's
reality is it's like
go ahead.
uploading an email attachment.
Yeah.
But what's the point before the other 99% before that last 1%? That's the magic.
So
Doing it
let's
right.
talk. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about some of the steps in your process. So if someone's just starting out, they're like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. What's the first step to writing a business
Do
book?
the outline.
Give me
Do an
how
outline because it
specific.
will help refine what you want to say and to whom you want to say it. And if you start writing something, and this has happened to people too, not before they get started with us.
Outline meaning chapters, outline, or
The
how do
whole,
you?
yeah, the premise of the book, the chapters, well, number one, who are you speaking to?
Yeah.
It's better to take an hour or two and go, here's what I think I want. And then really commit to going, is this what I want? And it's either going to be a hard yes or a if it's a maybe, it's probably no. If you're not like, yeah, this is it, it's probably not.
Yeah.
Because a lot, again, like yourself, you could do 5 books on all these various topics of what you learn, but what's the one you start with? And I always tease people, but the reality is it's the one that's going to be the lead and profit generating right now, that's most relevant right now, that's going to give you the biggest bang for the buck. But doing the outline or even a brainstorm or a mind map or something that's going to give you like, hey, just take your thoughts and start putting them out. You might love them, you might not. Either way, it's a starting point other than you're getting it out of your mind into something going, here's at least what I want to talk about. Let's refine it from there.
What are some of the common misconceptions when it comes to putting out your own business book? And then I guess more importantly, how do you avoid them?
Misconceptions are it's going to take 5 years to do. I don't know what I'm doing, and it's going to be super difficult. I'm not going to how to avoid them. I'm not going to say
Or how do you address them? Maybe not avoid, address them, right?
it's really not hard to do. It is time consuming to do it right. Because biggest misconception, most people think they go, I finished my book. No, dude, you finished the rough manuscript. You're just getting started.
Yeah.
It doesn't get refined enough because it's so much work to get there.
Yeah.
People just want to be done with it. But the power comes from, it's that example, like a Rolls Royce takes 6 months to be hand built and I wigged out when you were reading mine because I know what you own and I'm like, crap. I don't even want to say any car manufacturer that's not Rolls-Royce now, but the reality is some
I
are.
don't own a Rolls. I don't. I
No,
don't
no,
own a
no.
Rolls.
In the book, I named all the beginner level cars.
All right.
And I was like, you didn't get offended by that, did you? And you're like, why would I? And I was like freaking out. But any car that's, let's say, less than 100 grand versus a Rolls, they're
Yeah.
assembly lined. What's
Right.
the difference? The time that goes into it. Are they better? I don't
Yeah.
know. I think they are. I mean, having something hand built and crafted and artisan, absolutely. Bespoke versus, oh, you're one of 10,000 or 100,000.
Yeah. Millions.
But you're comparing
Yeah.
apples and
15,
zebras.
15 million new cars a year.
Yeah, you're
Roughly.
comparing apples and zebras, though. If you have 25 grand for a car and that's your budget, you're not even in the same ballpark. But if you do have half a mil for a car, now you get to go, I can literally get anything I want. What do I want? And it's the same thing with the book. If you have $500 to do a book, I'm not putting anyone down because that's where I started. Maybe it was 1,000, whatever. But the point is, start where you are and lead with that. Don't try to do something you're not. But when you're at the point when you can do it however you want, I really encourage people to ask themselves, how do I want to do it? Haphazard or proper? It's going to be time consuming either way. It's just a matter of, are you going through all the hassle or is someone else?
So let's talk a little bit how you can help authors get through this process, especially the time consuming part, without cutting corners. I'm going through it right now. I have got another friend who's going through you, I believe. At least
Yes.
he said he is. And he says it's the easiest thing he's ever done. That's
He's telling the
literally,
truth
it's right. He says
on
easiest
both
thing he's ever
accounts.
done. So walk us through that a little bit. Cause I think it's awesome the way you're doing it. And by the way, I know that there are a lot of good songwriters that do a similar process, by the way. This is Janet Jackson did a very similar process with her albums. So seriously, so if you look at a lot of artists who don't write their own songs necessarily, but they are their songs, this is kind of the process that they go through, right? Because they don't know the technical parts, right? They know
Similar.
what to say, they know the content, but they don't know how to structure it.
But here's the
So,
difference. This is your words.
correct. Well, that's what I'm saying. They were her words, but she doesn't know how to put it into I guess the format that's going to make it a hit, right?
So this is also something I only learned a few years ago because I was in band, choir, drama, stage, all this stuff, marching
That's why you got
band.
picked on. That's why you got picked on, Mario.
Appreciate that. So when it came to, okay, I'm the one doing it, practicing, playing, we'd write stuff. We do and there's people we have that have been on TV and different things. And I never realized like there are people that literally you are the talent. This person does the electrical. This person does the camera. This person. I learned it all. So I was like, how can you not do 15 things at once? And most people aren't wired that way. But the power is you can now again focus. And if you're the talent on stage or the author, get out in front of the people and share your message. Maybe you don't like writing, or maybe you have a legit, how do I politely say this? You're not that you're not good at it, but like dyslexia. If someone literally can't write, but they can speak all day, then yeah, podcast, audiobooks, being on stage, not a problem. There's other people. I mean, there are so many things. It's like, I can't do it because of this. I can't do it because of this. I can't. But the reality is there's always a way to figure it out if you want to. And that was another compliment someone gave us who said, I would have never had this completed if it wasn't for you. I hate writing. I can't do it. But somehow you managed to get this done. And it was all their words. And I don't take that lightly because I know some more of the backstory. I'm not going to share it here, but not everyone is equipped to do it, I guess, is the point. So there's nothing wrong with getting help, especially in life and every area of it. That has nothing to do with books, by the way, anyone listening. That's a you're not alone.
Yeah. What do you think some of the biggest mistakes people make when they're trying to do it on their own? So we
Trying to
can,
do it
so
perfect,
that's what they want to avoid.
trying to do it perfect the first time with no experience and no one guiding them, or no training or course or anything. Like if someone doesn't want to hire one-on-one, like first off, the easiest way is to hire an expert. The second easiest way is to buy the course or the training. If you're literally just Googling crap the whole time, you're going to probably spend 3 to 4 times as long, because there's going to be 15 articles that say, here's how you need to do it. And not a single one will match the other one. So now you have to decipher before you do the work. And it's cool how much info is out there. YouTube's actually pretty great. But if you just had the whole I blew my mind when I heard it. The whole reason people buy courses and books, it's the step-by-step process. They don't need to figure out all the other stuff. If I want to build the car, I'm sure I could meal it all together. Or I could just get a book from you and say, what does it take? What are the steps? Here's what you need. Probably a chassis, probably some wheels, probably some rims. Engine might help. And now you can just follow the recipe like food and culinary, which is really good.
You know, you were talking earlier about, I think I said, marketing and sales is the lifeblood of any business. All right, so now we got this book out there, right? It could be the best book. It could be the best business book ever created, but it really doesn't matter if nobody reads it. So talk to us about what's the best way to promote and market. What's the best strategies, right? When you're launching and promoting the book, because in the end, if no one reads it, who cares? It was a waste of time.
The answer was on number 12 or 14 of the sheet yesterday. Promote the heck out of it and have a way to pay.
Yeah.
So this is not a one size fits all. It's like, what's the best way to market a business? Well, some people, it might be direct mail postcard mailing. Other people, it might be Facebook ads. Other people, it might be stage presence. And all of those work. And I have it in the last chapter of the book on the publicity. There's really nothing is off limits. If you want to get a blimp and have people text a QR code, just let me go off my little tangent here. I know that's not what you do, but text a QR code and then they drop a book over Manhattan. Why the heck not? So it's really how imaginative you can create, but for sake of, here's some actionable things, free copies of the book. Hey, I'm giving away free copies of the book. Click here, just pay shipping and handling is one. I know people that are taking an opposite stance on that. And they're like, this isn't some free shipping and handling. And they're making it sound like it's the worst thing in the world. And they're just covering the cost of the shipping and handling. I've done, seen people do that too. And again, it goes to your goals and budget and all that. If you only have $500 saying you're going to give away 1,000 and cover everything, probably not going to happen. Podcast tours. Doing live streams, speaking from stage to a captive audience. If you have a room of 50 to 500 people that are your target audience, get them the book. Say a little bit something about it from stage and maybe throw them across the room like I did last time.
As a person or as a podcast, I feel like the number one easiest get on the show, and not that we want easy gets, but it's like you get flooded with requests.
We've worked hard enough. It's okay to win easily.
I want to be on a show. I want to be on a show. Is new authors or an author that just released a new book, another book, right?
Or has something new to say.
Yeah. So you get bombarded with that, but that's good. So what you're obviously there's a reason for that. So what
press
you're saying
releases,
is
TV publicity. Guess who they want? People who are interesting, who know how to speak. If you have an interesting enough book and it's relevant to the times, that's actually how I know for a fact people throw stuff up on Amazon and go, oh, I have this new thing hitting the XYZ season. Because you can do it in a day and then go reach out to all the publicity places. They never even publish them. It is so backwards.
One of the things we always did in the marketing agency, if we set up some type of campaign for a client, we always focused on preparing them. Here's the things you need to do before, during, and after, right? So let's use the during be the launch, all right? What are some of the things that people need to do ahead of time, then during, and then after, because there's also the thing is, listen, if you've got a good book, it should be somewhat evergreen, right? Unless you're
Mhm.
writing about, something that's very date specific, but it should be evergreen in the sense that, and I think probably a lot of people probably launch and then just assume, all right, I promoted, I launched, now I'm done. And so what did we do before, during, and after?
So the before unit would be thinking about what you want to do, who's the audience, and preparing it. Okay. The during is the whole process, planning, and all of that up to the launch. And more specifically, micro niche it down to the last 60 to 90 days before launch. Too many people don't give themselves enough time. They will work on it for 6 to 12 to 18 months. And right now, if I were to go onto Facebook and someone says, I'm launching my book tomorrow, and I haven't heard jack for the last 3 months, they probably are doing it on their own. They do all this stuff underground and then think the launch is one day, and then they don't promote it beforehand to the launch, and then after the next day they never talk about it again. I'm just like, you took at minimum 6 months of your life to do this, and you're not even just going to say, hey, some more books arrived, take a picture from the shipment and post it. Like, it's
Yeah.
not hard to promote it when you have something physical constantly coming, or reviews coming in, or the audiobook going out there. You can take snippets of that. It's just like, okay, before, you have to prep, know the content is good. During it, make sure you have enough time to tease people and promote it. Hey, new book coming first quarter next year, new book coming fourth quarter this, whatever it is, and then put a little bit out as you go. Hey, we're working on the cover. You love that, didn't you? You were like, that looks like trash. I like that one. Just
Yeah.
talk about what you're doing through the process. Hey, just finalize chapter 2. Who wants a free snippet of it? You know, there's so many ways to promote it because you have this massive catalog of content all in one piece, and no one talks about it ever. They launched the book, and it's sad because you're 100% correct. After the launch, everyone's like, it's that ticky mark, when really that's the launch point. How much more can I maximize this?
Well, and that's when the podcast really could come into play. I'll tell you what I'll do, and you tell me. I'm gonna follow your advice. But
Oh,
first off,
and
I
by
gotta
the
make.
way, that's some of the stuff we'll be talking about shortly.
Yeah, yeah. I want to. I put Daniel's comment up here from LinkedIn. By the way, if you're following, depending on what social media channel, we're live streaming to Facebook, different channels on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and then X. Some comments we get them from LinkedIn right out of the gate. On Facebook, we have to go into Facebook and do it there. It doesn't come through our streaming app we use, which is StreamYard. So just to let you know that. So depending on where you're coming from, we will or will not see. If you're on LinkedIn, we'll see that all day long. But yeah, Daniel, it goes right to what I was saying earlier. Yeah, I had this idea that I wanted to do this for years, but never wanted to do it. And I think it's just, for me, it was ego and fear. Um, not all the excuses I gave you for a couple of years. But one of the strategies I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to reverse engineer it. So, in other words, I'm going to look at, all right, not that I want to write a similar business book, but what business books have the same readers or audience that I want? Which ones have those, right? Which out of my audience, what business books are they buying most, right?
It's a great question.
When I find that, I'm going to look up those authors. And there are tools out there that I can do a quick search, and I'll find every podcast those people were on. And I will reverse engineer how they got that audience and how they promoted it and do it that way. I'm not going to just do shows to do them. I want to have a little.
So I'm going to share something that's normally a way the heck down the road after launch advanced thing. If someone wanted to do Amazon ads, you can actually grab the ASIN numbers of books off of Amazon and target the buyers of those books. So if you said Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or Atomic Habits, or whatever, whoever's looking up those it knows here's how you pinpoint people. And you can put the ASIN in there as here's the product you want to target. And you can actually do it with any product. You could do it with a tie, a vest, whatever the case is. And you can have your stuff serving up to exactly what you're saying. What are the top 10 books people are looking for? And there's some cool stuff you can do there. It's not what we start people with, but there's, like I said, unlimited marketing potential across any of the platforms, whatever you want to do. The quickest and easiest way is if you don't have an email list, start one now. So by the time you're ready to launch, you've built it. And if most people have an existing email list, those are already your target buyers. Because again,
right.
if you don't have any customers or clients, maybe doing a book this year is better served in 2 or 3 when it's easier for you and more credible. But those are the core people. I mean, I'd never tell someone go talk to 1,000 randos instead of the 50 or 100 people who've been with you 10 or 20 years first. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's virtually limitless what you can do to market it and get it in people's hands.
How do marketing 101, establish credibility, authority, establish yourself as the expert in your industry. Why is doing a book so important to that? How does it help with that?
So I could even argue the point over speaking. If you want to talk about the ultimate business leverage, everyone says speaking is the number one thing you can do. It's the most authoritative, influential. 100%. I don't disagree with that. But you still have to keep doing it. A book, you don't need to. Once it's done, you have a authoritative passive stream, not only for royalties, but for impact and influence. You can literally, I joke with people all the, it's not really a joke. Swipe the Amex, Merry Christmas. Here's another 1,000 copies. Who wants them? It could be one-on-one, a free campaign. It could, what organizations are speaking to these type of people? I'll send you 1,000 of my books free to enhance your audience. Who's going to turn that down if it really does help them?
Yeah.
Even whether you're speaking or not. Now, when you double that up, hook, line, and sinker, it's actually a little bit too easy. Why? Because it's one of the most trusted sources, like I said, that's been around 2000. What's the Bible? Before it was on Bible.com and there was an app, it was a written book.
Yeah.
Everything's been written word. If the reason we're such a successful civilization is because of the written word, how are you going to compete with that?
Yeah, good point. We got a question. Daniel, what is the high-low range of cost to actually get a book published in time frame that isn't unreasonable, short to average?
I'd qualify it with, what would you consider is a reasonable time frame? Because I could say we could do this for 1,000 or 2,000, do it yourself. You could do it. I had a program years ago that I'd walk people through how to do it in 8 weeks. You're going to be working your tail off for 8 weeks, but it's totally possible. I did one of mine in a week. Most of the people we work with now, it's 9 to 12 months because they're high-level CEOs and they don't want to do more than an hour's work a week. So
it can be as fast as you want it to be, how much time you're willing to do.
Realistically,
if someone wants to do an hour a week, 2 hours a week, how long you're looking? 6 to 9 months?
Yeah, but if you run the math to do it proper, you're still talking 50, 100 plus hours.
Okay.
Unless you're really just cutting corners going, I need, like, if you said to me, Daniel, I have this presentation February 1st, it's in front of 1,000 of my audience. I want to do it right. I don't have time. I just need a book to get in front of them. You can still get most of the way there and it will be good enough. People aren't going to super scrutinize it, but it's not going to be like a signal. You could do it. I mean, we did this one at the end of a year, and it was a consulting client of ours. And I go, so what's going on? What's new? He goes, I'm starting a new fitness business with my wife. And it was December 8th. He wanted it done by the end of the year. I go, this is going to be a ton of work. He goes, absolutely. I go, I know you'll commit, right? He goes, absolutely. I go, let's do it. And we had it done in 3 weeks, but we worked our tail off to get it done because January 1st was all the fitness stuff. And he absolutely wanted it. And it wasn't the same interview back and forth. I was like, you're going to need to write like 10 hours a day to get this done, and I'll guide you and help you. But you can do it in a month or two. If there's some event coming up, you absolutely want to have it to hold up and get in people's hands. There's ways to do it quick enough and goodish enough. It's just not going to be hyper refined. Like this is going to be my signature piece for the next 15 years. Oh, money, a grand or two up to 100 grand. Honestly, a lot of it's promotion of
But what's
marketing.
the norm? If I had a decent level, a decent amount, I guess a decent level of support where I'm not doing it all, and you guys are walking us through, like, what's the range?
If you wanted to do it on your
100's
own,
extreme. Yeah. No,
because the thing is the refinement.
yeah, do it. I mean, give us three ranges. If I did almost everything on my own, you're talking what?
Do you want copies of the book too?
Well,
because if you said I got a $5,000 budget, I could blow that on just copies of the book. I could blow it on not blow it, but books are going to be $2,000 to $5,000 depending on the quality you get. Hardcovers for sure. Editors, they're not free. Most people skimp on that area. That's another $2,000 to $5,000 minimum. If you want both, heaven forbid, and do it right. And that's like a partial thing. Audiobooks aren't inexpensive, aren't, 5 to 15 if you were doing it on your own and felt like doing a ton of work and really were, if I gave you all the secrets how to cut not cut corners, but do it like wholesale without paying someone, you could very easily say 5 to 15 on just stuff to make the book better.
And by the way, you give that in that book. Hold that book up again. You give away the whole thing.
Oh, there's nothing I held back. Like I want, if no one wants to use us, I don't want to get burned by someone else. And it's all in here where it's like, here's what you need to do.
That's right. But then
this gives me an idea. That's a great
question.
But
it's like other people, right? It's like, all right, now I know exactly what to do, but can someone just do it for me? So there's that too.
True. But Daniel, thank you for that. I might have to put that in the next version because I'm not sure if I spelled out if you want it. Actually, no, I did. It's in plan, like page 45. It's still a great question. I probably could elaborate on all the different things and itemize it out. I gave a general range, but yeah, audio book alone, I'm thinking of expenses. I'm not talking profit for XYZ consulting company, whatever. I'm just thinking how much it costs to have a dozen people working on it to make it the best it can be for you. If you say, I'm not going to pay this, I'll do everything. And my sister's an editor. Cool. Take her to dinner or something. Okay. That's a lot different than you need to pay $2,000 to $5,000 for editing from a professional. That's what they do. But yeah, books, 1,000 to 2,000, even for soft covers. If you want 100 copies, I mean, they're 4 to 6 a book. Depending current prices, the cost of ink is skyrocketed, and especially if you want color. But forget the printing. I would invest it in making sure the book content is good. You can always find different printers or just do a short run print or something. If you said, I've got $2,000 for printing, don't blow $1,950 of it on 95 copies. Get 5 or 10, make money from those, then reinvest it. But the content needs to be solid to begin with. Formatting also. You don't want it to look like someone drew it with a crayon. That's another way you can tell it's self-published. I should shut my mouth because I'm not trying to insult anyone, but there's things we're doing internally with our audits where it's like, here's the telltale signs of like, so I'll give you one copyright page. Most people make it look like hammered. Don't.
So you're a 2-time international best-selling author.
Apparently.
All right. How do you get a book to be best-selling? A bestseller?
Knowing what you're doing with the categories, choosing the right ones to pick proper. Our standard is we're not going to put you in some BS category just to say, oh, you're a best-selling author, because the reality is it's a dime a dozen nowadays. It's cool. It's not the reason you should be doing it, but it is a nice to have. The way it happens is there's categories for all intents and purposes is basically SEO. Mine's in publishing, authorship, nonfiction. I didn't put math. I didn't put underwater basket weaving. Those categories all have a value, just like SEO. And if you know what the values are, you can go, oh, like for example, LinkedIn. We're on LinkedIn right now. Love it. Most people don't realize LinkedIn is a search engine. Most people don't realize it's also SEO loaded. If I have book publishing in my profile 11 times and everyone else has it 8, I'm going to show up more. So if you want to do more with your LinkedIn profile, look at everyone who's competing with you and do more. Basis of SEO, same thing with categories. We need X amount of books per day. All you have to do is sell more than those X amount of books per day. And there's some big name authors that we've knocked down before, because we know the book may have sold a year or two ago, but since they're so well known, they're still trending. But we know they're selling X amount per day, and all you need to do is have more sales than that. So I'll give you the real behind the scenes. Take your list, cut it in half, then cut it in half again, and that'll probably be your actual sales. If you got 1,000 people on a list, 500 will say they'll support you, 250 actually will. So if
that's not what you told me when I
I haven't told you anything different. If you made some stuff up in your head.
Yeah. All right. So,
but that's also an email list. When we do this with a room full of people, I mean, Scott, I already told you the strategy. We're locking the doors. No one gets food, no bathroom breaks until they buy.
So how do you balance, you want to write a compelling story. You want a good written book, right? But if you're writing it for business, there's a chance
written well.
You're trying to build, right? If you're writing a business book, you want to educate, you want to give and share your knowledge and your information, right? And usually that comes with because you're trying to build or enhance or strengthen your brand and potentially generate leads. So how does someone who's writing this to generate leads balance that compelling story with lead gen?
Honestly, truth. I'm not, there's nothing I'm hiding right now. And yeah, I'm sure there's some sales component. And if someone's interested, by all means, obviously I own a book publishing company, but you don't need a really hard sell. It's like when you can answer people's questions legitimately and go, here's what you need. They either like you or they don't. And I remember one of our reports that we had early on. I think it was the third step. It's like, how do you prove your authority to someone? Demonstrate it. When they know you can deliver on I have to edit one thing. People always go, they do business with people they like, know, and trust, and know that they can deliver on the promise that they're looking for. There's a lot of people you know, like, and trust, but you won't do business with them. Why? Are they a little they sketchy? Are they unreliable? Here's the real test. Would you refer business to them? If you won't put your name on the line to refer business to them, there's something they're doing that's missing. So when you do the same thing with a book, well, I don't want to give my best stuff. And I kind of joke around. I'm like, why? Because you don't have any.
Well, that's the stuff you want to give. I would see.
What else are you going to give?
What I don't want to give is weak stuff. I'd rather go all out because that's out there in the world. It's in print. It's out there for the world to see. You're going to be judged based on that.
Absolutely. So give them the best stuff, and some of them will say thanks and run with it. Another big compliment is people who have read the book and go, loved your book. I published mine. Hey, congratulations. You're now not stuck in some bad experience. The person I'm thinking of is already working on books 2 and 3. And there's people I know from 6 years ago that hired other people, got burned, and they're so burned by it, they'll never do the second book. They barely got through the first one.
Right.
And I think that's the travesty, because the people who write and want to share, I've noticed most of them have more in them and want to do multiple ones. Yeah. There's no one going, I only have so much to say in 198 pages. I'll never talk about anything again. I mean, The whole basis of marketing nowadays on social and YouTube is written. I heard someone say this. I was at an event for YouTube where the smallest people in the room had 1 million people on their subscriber page, and they were just passing by and they were joking and laughing, going, yeah, everyone wonders how the biggest channels, what they all do in common. It's called scripting. You don't think they plan out the videos they put out there and research the SEO? You think they just turn on a camera and it's happenstance? It's not.
Yeah.
Same thing with the book. Plan it out, put some time into it. It'll turn out 10 times better than you thought. And people go, wow, what did you do? Like you invented fire.
All
Like
right.
I
So
tried.
you got someone like Daniel out here, right? By the way, you said DM him. Um,
Cool. Happy to.
but he's on the fence, right? And he wants to do it. He's got a good idea potentially. He's been thinking about it for years. What advice do you give them to get started right now? Besides,
He's
just do
not
it.
on the fence. He was sold 10 years ago. And for the record, Daniel, I can't wait to meet you. And I would love to help you, but feel free to chime in here. Am I wrong? Are you on the fence, or were you sold 10
if
years
he's
ago
still
and you're
on,
looking for guidance?
yeah, I don't know if he's still tuned in or not. I'm just reading from the comments. So,
Well, if he is, I think, and I'm thinking of, well, actually 4 people right now, 2 of which are current authors. Almost all of them have said, I've had this in me for 2 to 3 to 5 to 10. One said 15 years. They're looking for the guidance and someone they can trust that can not only like, know, and trust, but I'd add respect and get past the finish line, that has the skill set and acumen that they know they can deliver on it. I know tons of people I like, know, and trust. There's some I would never refer business to because they don't even call me back.
you know,
How are you
I
going
was
to go
just
9 to 12 months with accountability to get a book done? It's going to be a hard pill to swallow.
so I brought up my friend, right? He gave a great compliment saying it's the easiest process he's ever done. He
Yeah.
says it's easy.
Is he
And
trying to stay behind the scenes? You keep saying you're a friend, and I know who you're talking about,
well,
but
yeah, I don't know if he wants it out there yet that he's writing it. So I
okay,
didn't,
fair enough.
yeah. Um, so, and I was in a similar situation, and the reality is he was putting it off for a long time too. He's had his knowledge in his head and wanted to do it for a while too. So I think there's definitely this, just, how much time is it going to do? All the stuff you make up. And we always, whatever we worry about, and I really do, I try, my motto is to never worry. And the reason I don't like to worry is because when you worry, first off, most of the stuff you worry about never happens. And when you worry, you experience all the same amount of pain as if it did. So why in the heck? I don't want that. And so, but I will say, I wasn't necessarily worried about writing it, but I was just putting it off because of all the potential crap I was thinking about in my head. And the reality is, just like worrying about something, 90% of that stuff isn't true. None of it. It's like anything else.
False evidence appearing real.
Yeah, it's just something you're not comfortable with because you've never done. So you just make up all this crap in your head as to why, and you try to justify why you're not doing it. Now, my advice would be just do it and get going on it. Daniel was tuning in. He said, fear of being able to compete or see it through, not on the fence if I knew I could do it. I think it is what I think this is what I was needing. So, yeah.
Daniel, I'd love to help move you forward in whatever capacity it is. No pressure with us, but if you've been at it for 10 years, you have a message for sure. And Scott, I was originally going to say this just for an info. Confused mind doesn't decide. That's why there's sales letters and sales business cards and flyers and all these things. But again, the book, when you go, here's my concern, here's my concern, here's my concern, and here's the 58 answers, I no longer have concerns.
Yeah.
You don't really need to be like, oh, by the way, we do this, buy it from us, buy it for, like, no. They get the point when you hand them the book or just buy it in general. They know who you are. They know what you do,
Yep.
It's like
Well,
the bakery going, we sell cupcakes. Well, I'd hope so. That's kind of what bakeries do. But do I
I
like you? Do I like
I
your
went
values? Do you make good food? Is it reasonable? Can you deliver on time? Oh, and to your point from yesterday, what's the convenience factor? Will you deliver it to me today, right now?
well, I speaking of cupcakes, there's a bakery on the way to our country club, which we went to on Sunday for, breakfast brunch with Santa. And
Oh, that's fun.
what kind of bakery do you know? Isn't not that I was going to get any. I was not going to go get donuts on the way to brunch or on the
Why
way
the
back.
hell not?
They're closed. What kind of bakery closes on a Sunday? I feel like that's like, isn't that the busiest potential
Chick-fil-A?
bakery day? Yeah, I don't. They're not selling chicken, so I don't understand. I feel like, but that is just something about making it easy for clients.
That's the
But
cool thing
hey,
with the entrepreneurship. If it's an entrepreneur one and not a chain, God bless them. If they don't want to work Sunday, great. Just sell more the other 6 days.
hey, I want to thank you for sharing your expertise and sharing your insights
My
today.
pleasure. This was
Um,
fun.
I think people should have walked away. It sounded like Daniel's a good example, right? Walk away with a better understanding of what it takes to publish a book, some actionable tips to promote it so it's successful. People actually read it. If not, it's a waste of time. I think you've given us a lot to think about, more importantly, act on. So I will make so like for Daniel's case, what's the easiest way if someone wants to get in touch with you? What's the best way to do it?
Publishing@iwdnow.com email.
All right. You want to say that again? You put that in the comments too. Put that in the comments. You're good on all this.
The LinkedIn comment or
Yeah,
this
put
here
it on
comment?
LinkedIn. That's where that'll
Okay.
see. Yeah.
Oh,
It might push out to all the comments. I don't know how it works with StreamYard on that.
yeah, this will go to the team publishing@iwdnow.com.
There you go. All right. I can tell you firsthand, I'm going through the process now. I look forward to the calls. They're enjoyable. And to the point you brought up and the story you brought up, um, first off, it feels good to share some of those things because you're not just sharing current day stuff. Also, what is some of the journey and the lessons you learned along the way, and it's good to revisit some of those things. And at the same time, the more you talk through things, the better you articulate. You know,
There's a lot of side benefits too. The book, sure, the book is done, but refining your message and having clarity with what you're saying, because there's been multiple times I'm like, go deeper there. And I'll just see something on your face, or you're like, and I'm like, what was that? And you're like, well, it was actually this. And then 20 minutes later, I'm like, that's for sure making it in there.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. We're so used to like soundbite and quick for business. It's like, no, interject more of this. Like, what's the story you've never told anyone? And I think there was one or two, you're like, I've never really said that. And I'm like, that's why you should. Because the whole name of the game, whether it's marketing for ad, a book, I don't really care what it is. Everyone sounds the same. When you can sound different, which is not hard because we all have our own experiences and life lived, that's what people are attracted to, because they go, wow, he or she is just like me. They went through the same stuff. They don't sound like everyone else. I do like them, and they're obviously qualified. Maybe I should give them a call, email, whatever. Reach out, contact them. I remember when all we had was contact forms. Now it's like, I'll send you a carrier pigeon by drone. Like,
I don't mess with any of that stuff. It better be easy for me. If you want me engaged, and enrolled, more importantly, enrolled in whatever you got to make it easy.
so are you seriously saying you'd rather text for 60 minutes straight than just share and talk?
I'm just saying I'd articulate it to perfection from text.
I'm a mess with you now. I'm going to do something coming up in a few next calls, but I get it. That's the thing is, some people, the modality doesn't matter. The important thing is get the message out, because there's a few authors years ago in the group training. I always tell everyone, use Google Docs or Microsoft Word. Actually, Google Docs. But whatever, some people are hell-bent on Microsoft Word. Type it out, whatever. There was someone goes, I hate typing. Can I just write it? And I'm like, you mean literally pen and paper? And she goes, yeah. I go, you can, but you're going to have to get it into a computer at some point. She goes, oh, that's fine. I'll have my assistant type it all up. Cool. I don't care. The mechanism was in place. I would generally not tell people to just write on paper because it's just more work for getting it into the computer. But for her, that was the thing. Most people, it's easy to talk. Some people, it's video. Some people, it's written word. There's apps on my phone that every single one of my books on the go, waiting at the airport, waiting at the salon, I would denote whatever. I'd record a paragraph of text while it was fresh in my mind. So the medium doesn't matter. Just get it out there and share your message.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, as always, I want to thank everyone for tuning in today to the Me Plus Ultra Network. Make sure you subscribe to meplusultra.com or Me Plus Ultra at meplusultra.com and check out Me Plus Ultra Network. That's our YouTube channel. Subscribe there as well. You'll get more episodes like this when we go live. Also, we got the podcast, Business, Bourbon, and Cigars on there, and we do a lot of shorts.
And join us at the next live event. They're a blast. You will not regret it.
March 9, 10, and 11. Charleston, yes. South Carolina. Let me tell you something. When I go into ChatGPT, and I describe Business Bourbon Cigars, and I say, list me, because, you're doing site visits because we always change the March location. I say, list me the 20 cities in the United States that fit our brand, where our members and the people who participate are going to have the best time. And Charleston ranked #1. So I'm excited to get there. The hotel's awesome. The agenda's top notch. It should be by far our best one. Of course, I thought the last one was our best one to date. So the one back in September in Louisville. So
I enjoyed it, but the one before that at Royal Palms wasn't bad either. Well, none of them are bad.
Hey, you did the auction on that. Don't forget to use your thing.
Aware.
All right.
Trish told you my arm to leave the cold to go somewhere nice in winter. Okay.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Keep striving for greatness. See you soon.